Hello and welcome to this month's road.cc Recommend Show. I'm Rebecca Charlton and alongside me is Dave Atkinson. Well, we've got some brilliant products to talk about, of course, today. But before we get to all that, I have to address something, actually, because as much as I'm happy that you're here on the sofa today, where's Liam?
Well, he kind of crashed his bike. He's with us in spirit. Don't worry, he's fine, and the bike is fine too. But you wouldn't want him on the sofa right now because he'd just be moaning about his sore back all the time.
Oh, well, thank God the bike's all right. But
That's
seriously,
all we care about, really, isn't it?
But seriously, we all wish you a very speedy recovery, Liam. Get well soon. So, what have we got coming up on today's show, Dave?
Well, we've got a couple of brilliant gravel bikes, kit from the likes of Rafa and Met, plenty of panniers, a brilliant book, and loads more.
And that's not all. There's also our regular features of Cafe of the Month, our highlighted route, and we dive into more buying advice, and this time it's all about shoes.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I'll start us off though, Becca, with this. This is the Altura Thunderstorm City Pannier. It's got a 20 litre capacity, lots of commuter-focused features rather than touring, so it's fully waterproof. It's got a roll-top closure to keep out the rain. It's got reflective accents all over it to maximise your visibility, and it's got a padded laptop sleeve and a zipped interior pocket for your keys and all that kind of stuff. It's very good. The main feature, however, is that it attaches with a robust, high-quality R&K click-fix mechanism, so that's designed to fit pretty much any gauge of rack, really. It's simply a case of adjusting the hooks at the top, and then it's also possible to get a larger set for larger tubing like you might find on a built-in rack on an e-bike, for example. So adjusting the position's really easy, and the bag is super secure and stable once it's fitted. One thing that we really loved, though, was the push-button removal, which makes it a super fast job to remove the bag once all the initial fitting has been done. That means it's a really good option for urban bikes.
Well, Dave, I see your pannier and I'll raise you this Bontrager MKI commuter boot bag. The main point of this is stability for that 7 litre capacity, and we found that it worked brilliantly with a Mick rear rack. If you don't want to buy into the MKI system, though, you can just unscrew the plastic mounting from the underside. The bag contains handy zippered pockets for tucking away bits and pieces, while the main compartment gets a waterproof liner to keep your stuff dry.
Excellent. Right, if you're after a good book to read while you put your feet up in the garden this summer, assuming that we have summer,
That's lovely, yeah.
then I can highly recommend End to End by Paul Jones, which is a brilliant book, partly about the end-to-end, partly about the people that did the end-to-end, partly about Paul's own personal journey through writing the book. It's like a real good mix of different kind of threads that intertwine into a really nice narrative. Loads of really interesting stuff, and honestly, doing the end-to-end record, it doesn't make you want to do it. It sounds
I was going to say,
horrific.
I don't think there's any way you'd want to do that ride after reading the book. But,
No.
you know, it's a great read.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's stories of like people hallucinating, somebody having to hold their chin up on their tri-bars for the last day, effectively.
Not surprised.
Sounds great. Some of it's absolutely crazy. But really good read, worth a look. Let's have a look at one more product before we start thinking about our Cafe of the Month.
Cake.
Before we start thinking about our Cafe of the Month.
Well, many of us take our phones out with us when we cycle. It's a brilliant safety measure, and most importantly, you can take sweet pics for your Instagram account. But keeping your phone dry, be that when it's raining or you're very sweaty, isn't the easiest. The phone hugger is basically a strip of thick inner tube sewn into a pouch. The top wraps over and seals with Velcro, letting gravity finish the waterproofing job. Rain would have to run upwards literally to get in, so it works really, really well. And because it's made of recycled inner tubes, it's very eco-friendly. And I've actually got a friend, this is going to sound awful, isn't it? She does notoriously sweat a lot.
You've got a sweaty friend.
I've got a sweaty friend. I'm not going to name any names. And she's written off 2 iPhones through sweating through her back on endurance road rides.
Wow, so what she needs is one of
she
these.
Needs this.
There we go,
she
look.
needs this.
Absolutely perfect.
Asking for a friend.
I didn't even know you had an Instagram account, actually. That's news to me. Right, I'll put that down. Our recommended cafe this month is the Wild Carrot in Tetbury, which from our office here in Bath, we can absolutely get to, and I have on occasion. Let's head over to them and they can tell us all about it.
Hi guys, my name's Connor. I'm the head mechanic here at Wild Carrot Chavenage. We are a coffee shop located on the outskirts of Tetbury, between the Stroud Valleys and the Cotswolds, which makes us in an ideal location for a perfect ride. If you want to test yourself, go out towards the valleys. If you're up for a chilled amble through the countryside, we've got everything the Cotswold side for you. We also offer a big range of coffees, cakes, lunches, salads, ciabattas, all that kind of good stuff for you. We've also got a fully functioning workshop which can provide mid-ride repair should you ever need it, which would be unfortunate, but you know, we're here to help you out of that one. We also offer bike hire for the day, electric bikes, standard bikes. We've got a full range of stuff for you to enjoy. We also do one-wheel electric skateboard experiences, and we've got glamping. So there's not a lot we don't do here. But yeah, pop along for a day, enjoy a ride. We've got plenty of places for you to park your bike, come and meet a load of like-minded individuals and have a good time.
So we can get to it from here, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a long loop, but it's doable.
Why are we still saying?
You're just thinking about cake, aren't you? Because we've got more stuff to talk about, more products. But also, we want to know about your favourite cafe stops. So there's a link coming up now to a page on road.cc where you can tell us all about them. And if we pick your favourite, cake's on us.
Big incentive.
Yeah, big incentive. Right, moving on. We've got more products to talk about, obviously, and this one is perfect for a long ride. Repente's Quasar Saddle. It's really well suited to riding hard and fast with your saddle high and your handlebar low. But unlike some racier saddles, which can be stiff, uncompromising, it's actually very comfortable. Good enough even for endurance riding. The 260mm length is shorter than most standard saddles, but it's not super short, so you do get to move around a bit more than you would on like a proper shorty saddle. There's only one width though, and that's 142mm, so you have to make sure that fits you.
You do. Well, you've got to love a race saddle that's also super comfy, haven't you? Next up is a jersey that we loved in its original form, and it's great to see that Rafa has improved the women's classic jersey even further for this second version. Well, the Classic 2 is made with Rafa Performance Merino 150 fabric, but here the 36% merino is mixed with 64% recycled polyester, upping its eco-credentials. It has what Rafa calls a refined classic fit for all-day comfort with slight shaping to the body to take into account curves, which is brilliant, isn't it? Overall, it's very well made, looks stylish, and performs really, really well for relaxed riding in the sun.
Sounds
if we
great.
get the sun back.
Yeah. Right, onto a shiny bike. Would you like to hear about a shiny
I would,
bike?
yep.
It's very
Always.
shiny. Very shiny bike came into the office and wasn't in my size.
Is it in my size?
A little bit unfair. It wasn't in your size either, to be fair. Somewhere in between. So the Kinesis GTD version 2 is a bit of a killer for the N+1 concept. Now, it's a frame set that feels light and responsive for those blasts in the sun, but if you want to go long, it's also a really, really comfortable bike. It'll take wide tyres, they're not a problem even with mud guards, and it will take a rack too if you fancy a bit of touring. So this is really a very versatile bike. Now, I think you'll agree, Becca, that titanium is a very beautiful thing to build a bike from. It's lovely. Not only can you build a stiff frame, you can, if you know what you're doing, do so while fully exploiting the comfort levels, and that is exactly what Kinesis has done here, according to our reviewer, Stu. The GTD's tubing is titanium, and it's alloyed with 3% aluminium and 2.5% vanadium. That's the standard titanium alloy that they use for bike tubing, and it's a bit easier to work with than the harder alloys that are sometimes used for CNC milling. We had a pretty racy build, so it could go at a decent lick. The handling is just on the fun side of neutral, and if you're looking for a fast bike that can soak up the miles, this one's really worth considering.
Well, Dave, talking about going fast, one of the first things hitting the air is your head, and having an aero helmet on it is a great way to save a few watts, which I definitely need. That said, a helmet still has to be comfortable, and thankfully the new Met Manta MIPS is just that. The new version of the Manta integrates reprofiled aerodynamics, a revised ventilation system, and perhaps most importantly, MIPS protection, which has been nicely integrated. The front 6 channels in combination with the 7th top vent provide just enough ventilation to regulate the temperature around your head on a warm British summer's day.
Lovely.
We keep referring to it, don't we?
The Met Manta MIPS. It's easy for you to say.
No, it wasn't. Moving on, I think it's time to get some buying advice now. And this month we're focusing on shoes. We've had Shimano's XC5 shoes on test, and at 130 quid, they represent very good value for money actually when you consider the features that you get. You can see them here. The sole is a glass fibre reinforced nylon that's stiff enough for riding while being a little flexy too for walking. It's covered in a rubber tread from Michelin and has a 2-bolt cleat hole drilling, and this combines to make a shoe that is great for adventure riding as well as general road riding. You get a synthetic leather upper which is cool, robust and comfortable, and this is fastened down by a BOA L6 dial. So how would you know if these are the shoes for you? Well, over to Liam now for this month's buying advice.
Catch! Thank you for the sympathy, guys. Oh, shoe incoming. The bike is fine. Just a couple of scratches, but I'll break out the polish for that. Now, shoes are a strange one. What fits like a slipper for me might be a torture device for you. The first thing to consider is the type of riding that you want to be doing. Road shoes are great for racing and sporty types, but as soon as you want to do any kind of walking, a cross-country mountain bike shoe or touring shoe is going to be far better. Now, this is because on a mountain bike shoe, the cleat is recessed into the shoe and it's hidden by the rubber tread. That makes walking far, far easier. Oh, and about those cleats, if I pick up this one, spot the difference between the cleat sizes here. So this road cleat is a lot larger. It spreads the pressure of pedaling forces over a wider surface. This is said to help with power transfer and also comfort. The mountain bike cleat, that's designed to be durable, engage with both sides of the pedal, and also cope with shedding dirt. And don't be caught by thinking that just because you've bought a road bike, you need road shoes. Many cross-country mountain bike shoes are perfect for road riding with stiff soles and breathable uppers. Now, gravel riding is a bit of a mix, and you can use whatever you like. Personally, I'm going to go for something like this. The mountain bike shoe, that offers easier walking, and I'm also not concerned about scratching the soles. So if you're just starting out with cycling shoes, if you'll be riding on a mix of surfaces, or your riding is made up of commuting, if you have knee problems, say, or if you just want to be able to do some walking, then these mountain bike shoes make a lot of sense. So the pedals that you get with these and you need to use, well, they're dual-sided, the release tension is really low, and they offer a load of float. That makes them absolutely excellent for those commuter types, the people with knee pains that we've just spoken about. Honestly, I'd go for something like this if I was just starting out. Now, soles are generally made from either a hardened nylon or, in this case of these Bonts, carbon fibre. As you spend more money, soles generally get lighter and stiffer, but getting the stiffest shoe possible isn't always the best approach. That stiffness is needed to transfer the power from your legs into the pedals. Having too much flex allows the foot to kind of bend over the pedal and means lost power, but go too stiff and your shoes are going to transmit a load of road vibration up through the bike and then through the shoe and into your foot. You want that sole to be taking the vibration and isolating your foot from it. Now, retention duties, and that's what's going to keep your foot in the shoe, that's taken care of by the closure system. I've got examples of the main systems in use with me. There's the modern dial closure, that's from BOA there, and then there's this ratchet strap system, and we don't tend to see this too much these days. There are then those shoes with even simpler Velcro straps or laces. We'd go for a dial closure system given the choice, as the system is small, lightweight, and offers tiny adjustments to the retention pressure. Fit. Now that is a very personal issue. If you're buying cycling shoes for the first time, the best bet is to go and find a well-stocked bike shop and try on several brands to see what works for you. If you've been riding for a few years but you're tempted to try out a new brand, then try to do your research on the fit characteristics of that brand. The likes of City and Physique are usually seen as narrow all the way down the foot. Bont and Northwave are wider. Those are just some examples. You can read further fit advice about specific shoes by reading our reviews, but again, the best way to see if they'll work for you is by trying a pair on. Essentially, fit is the key consideration, as this is the biggest influence on comfort. There's only one way to get that right, and that is by trying a few pairs on. I hope that clears things up. Now, Dave, catch. best throw?
Ugh, thanks, Liam. Right, buying shoes is always a bit tricky, so it's good to have some solid advice. Right, we've got 3 more products to tell you about before we get to the big one, product of the month.
Yep, and the first of those is the 7 Mesh WK3 bib shorts. This women's specific design packs in a super plush chamois, a second skin feel, and an easy pee function that is genuinely easy. While they also come with the £160 price tag, they could be the only pair of shorts that you actually need, with their endurance-focused comfort and sleek, lightweight design covering everything from laid-back days to racing as well. Now, if you're a rider who finds forward-focused pads frustrating in terms of rear comfort, these could be the shorts for you. The pad is designed to support upright riding for over 7 hours. Having tested it on road and gravel, we were seriously impressed. The pull to pee technology is 7 Mesh's answer to the need to go for a quick comfort break without having to remove your jersey. All you have to do is pull them down at the back thanks to a cleverly crafted combination of a wide yoga-style waistband and go-go gadget-esque bib straps.
Excellent, that sounds great. Right, moving on to one for the gravel riders. This is the Schwalbe G1R. It's a gravel tyre that offers a really good mix of speed and grip that puts it at the top among the other leading brands. There is little, if anything, to dislike, although that performance does come at a price. The G1's a race tyre with a new tread pattern you can see and a carcass layout that's been adopted from Schwalbe's premium road tyre. So the G1R is available in 700C wheel size and in 40mm and 45mm widths, both of which are tubeless compatible. Now, the tyre carcass is what Schwalbe call souplesse, which, if you cast your mind back to your school French lessons, you'll know is the French word for supple.
Of course.
Do you remember that?
No, it's been a while.
Absolutely right. It's constructed with a 2-layer 67 TPI carcass around the full tyre. Now, when things get rough and loose, the performance of these tyres is really, really good. The grip on rocks and stone, gravel tracks, outstanding. Even grassy moorland, even mud, they still manage to work in those conditions. And the tread also clears dirt really well. It's very tight, as you can see, but it actually clears really well. So all those things are good. You just need to find £70 an end to fit them.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, for now, Dave, I've got another set of bib shorts to talk about. Velocio's women's ultralight bib shorts are very breathable, and thanks to a comfortable pad, effective comfort break design, and totally opaque finish, they transfer really well from indoor training sessions to long days on hot roads.
Good. Hot roads.
All those hot roads we're going to
Yeah.
have. These summer weight ultralight bibs use a new 140 gram per metre square stretch woven fabric for a compressive feel. The tight weave provides a pleasing squeeze that's supportive but not restrictive in any way, actually. Tucked inside is an elastic interface chamois developed for Velocio. The dual density foam is perforated for breathability, and apparently there's an anti-vibration layer with supportive high density perennial inserts. The result is a very comfy set of bibs.
Perennial inserts. What time to be alive, eh? Amazing. Right. Time for
Moving on.
the product of the month. Very nice drum roll. Now, we were spoilt for choice this time. Loads of good products came in. It was a hard one to pick. Let's go over to Matt now to reveal road.cc's product of the month.
Thanks so much, Dave. The Steel Fairlight Trail 3.0 takes everything that's great about its predecessor and includes some updates that not only improve the ride quality, but also give it an even smoother, more refined look. It's a fabulous bike that earned a rare 10 out of 10 from reviewer Stu. Fairlight's made a whole bunch of changes from the previous model. There's a new fork, for example, that'll accept tyres up to 37mm wide, and there's fully sleeved internal routing for a front dynamo light. You also get a new Reynolds 853 down tube with 3 sets of bottle cage mounts, new Reynolds 725 chainstays, and a new Bentley dropout. So the guys at Fairlight have been super busy. The best thing about the Trail though is the ride quality that results largely from its custom drawn tube set. The level of stiffness is great, stamp on the pedals, and the Trail responds not quite sharply as a carbon superbike maybe, but not far off. The comfort is absolutely spot on, and the Trail is well balanced too. When you're seated, regardless of the pace you're riding at, the rear end really takes the bumps and vibrations out of the road. The slightest input from shifting your body weight or tweaking the steering has an instant and positive impact on how the bike feels. It's just so precise. especially considering that we're talking about a geometry that's aimed more at the relaxed endurance end of the spectrum. All this adds up to a feeling that this trail is almost an extension of you, the rider. Downhill technical sections are a real blast, the Fairlight flowing from bend to bend in a really controlled manner. The trail never feels a handful, which is one of its greatest virtues. Regardless of your riding skills, it's never going to make you feel out of your depth. This is basically all of your favourite bikes rolled into one.
Brilliant, thanks Matt. So that's the Fairlight Trail 3, an excellent bike, an excellent all-rounder. And Fairlight makes some great bikes. I've been riding recently the Fairlight Farron 2, which I'm going to review on road.cc. Watch out for a review of that really soon.
Well, that might well be a convenient segue to our next feature. Where did you go riding, Dave?
Well, I went riding here. Our recommended route this month is a point-to-point from Barnstaple to Bridgewater, taking in some of the epic scenery of Exmoor and the Quantock Hills. At 112 kilometres, it's a pretty long ride, but that really doesn't tell half the story. There's over 2,000 metres of climbing to tick off, and half of the ride is off-road on a huge variety of surfaces. We chose to do this ride over 2 days, camping out high on Exmoor. If camping isn't your thing, then there are places to stay in Simonsbuff and Exford, which are in the middle of the route. There are pubs and shops there too, as well as in Paracombe and Watchet, which also has a good selection of cafes. If you want to do it in a day, then give yourself plenty of time and pack some lights just in case. Exmoor can be brutal at times. There are some sections on this ride where you'll be getting off to push, and some really exposed riding high on the moor. If the weather turns up there, there's very little shelter, so pack good waterproofs if there's any chance of rain. There's a lot of technical riding too. The descent from Dunkery Beacon is doable on a gravel bike, but we'd recommend fitting the biggest tyres you can. That's the hardest section, and there's a road alternative via Luckham if you prefer. Things get a bit easier after that. Nearly everything through Timberscombe and onto Watchet and the Quantocks is rideable, and from the top of the Quantocks you get some amazing views if you're blessed with slightly better weather than we had. It's a fun descent all the way down to Bridgewater to finish. You could easily make the ride into a loop, and it's pretty simple to get the train back to the start point, changing at Exeter.
Brilliant stuff, Dave, and we want to see everyone else's routes as well, don't we?
We do, so you can find that route on our Komoot page. Look for road.cc on Komoot, and if you want to send us your routes, then there's a page on the road.cc website where you can find out all about how to do that. It's coming up as a link now. It's also in the description below.
And with that, I think that's all we've got time for this month. But before we go, Dave, any housekeeping?
Little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to tell us about your favourite routes. Don't forget to tell us about your favourite cafes. There's links to both of those pages in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more like this from us.
Well, from me and Dave, goodbye for now. See you next time.